Welcome to Before They Were, the podcast / time capsule / documentary where we drop in with incredible beings living their aligned lives during their time on this beautiful planet. We are your co-host Los, aka River Flows, joined by my co-host Tim the Magic. Thanks for joining us today. Enjoy the journey. This is an episode with Vladimir Montoya, a brother of mine who I love and respect, a brother of ours. We dive into a lot of different things on, career paths changing, but I think we really spend a lot of time. What's interesting on this is talking about relationships, whether that's the relationships with your partner, friends, how important they are, how to upkeep them. I think you guys will enjoy it. Please enjoy Before Wladi Was.
Is that your intro or something?
No, it's just a metronome.
It's just a metronome that times up all the talking and whatnot. We'll play you the intro later so you can hear it.
You have an intro.
Yeah, the intro.
Of course you do.
Yeah. This is episode, I don't even know now, 8 or 9, something like that.
Wow, you have that many?
Yeah.
Something like that.
Yeah.
We also might release them in different orders, but yeah, you're about that number of guests.
But this is what I've been excited for.
Vladimir
Montoya.
Woo!
Venezuelan persuasion.
Let's go. That's given. That's a given name. I didn't make that myself. Let's let the record stand. It was not me.
I'm very excited to have you, brother. Really appreciate you here. I guess a good place to start would be, where are you now?
A little snapshot of your life in the moment.
Whoa, man. That's a solid question because I just flew back to Austin. Physically, the location where I'm actually at right now is Austin, Texas.
Yeah.
But I was in Puerto Rico just like less than 12 hours ago. And that's if we just say, like, where am I in my life right now? Yeah. Oh, wow. I'm in a really beautiful place right now where my relationships are thriving. They're flourishing out of years of having pretty challenging, and I don't want to use the word crappy because they were not crappy. It's just that would be a story around the relationship, but had a really hard time growing up in relationships. Just didn't really know how to communicate with people and how to be empathetic, even though I can be very compassionate and empathetic. I also just, in growing up an athlete at some point, I just wanted to, like, people to just tough it out.
Yeah.
And I couldn't just let people, like, have their own negative experience or whatever was going on with them. I was just like, man, that phone's distracting. Yeah. It's all good, bro. It's all good. It's all part of it. It's all part of the experience.
It's all part of the experience.
It's all part of the experience. But yeah, at some point I wanted to be better at relationships. I realized one day, just going through a breakup, and I was like, wow, I don't have the relationships that I want. I don't have a guy in my life. I don't have a man that I can call right now and say, hey man, I just went through a breakup. And this is really hard, and I don't know what to do.
Yeah.
It's funny that we're sitting in this room because you are one of the men that I called out of many that I have now in my life.
Yeah.
That I could say, and we sat in a circle, me saying, hey, I got some issues in my relationship right now. We did a little counsel, as I called it, my dude counsel.
Everyone needs one.
And that's where I'm at. I used to be the person that didn't have a person, a man, a friend in life where I could just say, hey, I can trust you with my issue, with my problem, with my big thing. And now I feel like I have so many people that I can just do that with.
Yeah.
And took a lot to get there.
What was that process like to not having that, to like sitting here now with that dude counsel and the support you have?
It's about a 6-year process.
It's a 6-year process.
So maybe give us the cliff notes, or we can say
I will tell you. I will tell you some part of it because it's relevant to the story. I mean, the moment that I sat there without friends, I also called in the friends. I was like, you know what? I deserve good people in my life, good men, good girlfriends, just good people that I trust. And it wasn't that I didn't have those people. It's important for me to share here that those people were in my life. I didn't feel trusting enough to reach out to them.
Ooh.
So it wasn't like they were not there. I had guy friends. They were probably, I could call an old good friend and say, yo, I'm going through something. People are always there. People have always been there to support me. But I didn't feel trusting enough to say, hey, Carlos, I need your help.
Yeah.
I didn't know how to ask for that. I didn't know how to share that to people.
Yeah.
So it wasn't like they weren't there. Those people were always there. People
Was
were always around.
Was there a reason, like a deeper reason why you weren't trusting that? Was something that happened, or just like just an innate because of how you were raised, you just didn't trust?
Yeah, just raised using it, doing it alone.
Yeah.
Raised thinking that, you know, guys don't share that kind of shit. I didn't have any examples in my life of people sharing their issues, asking for support, especially emotional support.
Yeah.
So the moment that I saw that I could have friends or wanted friends, man, I literally just called for them and people showed up in my life. I had this couple, beautiful friends, Michael and Adi, my friend Daniel, different places. One was at the gym, like a CrossFit gym. One was me coaching them. And one was, they were my partners, my like training partners. And little by little, man, like these people just became like an example for me to follow. They had great friends. They were open and vulnerable. They showed up to my house one day with a book, and this is a book that I gift to other friends too, because they gifted it to me. It's Daring Greatly.
Daring Greatly.
Daring Greatly.
Brene
Brown.
Brene Brown.
Yeah.
Brene Brown.
Yeah. So my friend showed up with this book. She's like, "Hey, read this book." And I'm like, "Okay, cool, read it, man." And it talks all about being vulnerable, sharing yourself. You know, talks about shame and how we hold on to shame, what shame does to the human, to relationships, and so on. And so I'm like, man, this is life changing. So little by little, you know, started to read more, started to get into personal development, and from one thing to another, I started to take more responsibility, be in integrity, stop lying to people, because I lied a ton to girlfriends, just in general. I don't think it was just to girlfriends. I realized at some point, recording my own podcast one time, like in 2020, that I had the realization as I'm talking that I developed a pattern as a child of lying to my family, like about little stuff.
Yeah.
There's a little pattern though. It was like, oh, did you do homework? Sure. Did you do this thing? Sure. Yeah. Like everything was like, yes, I did that, or I didn't do that, or whatever. It's like little, but it carried on, man. It carried on to when I was an adult.
Yeah. And
it carried on to, okay, where else can I lie to get the thrill, the sensation, the feeling that I get whenever I get the lie, and I don't get caught.
So you were lying for the thrill of the lie.
That's
yeah,
real. I
dude.
can relate to that, honestly. And it's just small. It's not big ones. It's just like little
No,
ones here and there.
and I loved it. I fucking loved it. I mean, I lied for all the things that I got from the lie, from being able to do the thing that I was not supposed to.
Right.
Whether it be cheating or getting a something like a reward
for something that you didn't do.
Right.
Right.
But you lied about it.
I would lie in some capacity around it, and at some point I realized, man, I don't want that. Like I realized that integrity is important, and if I was in integrity, my life would work.
Yeah.
And I started to see that when I started to get in integrity, even if it was like I got an integrity with you, but something else would also start to work. Like if I told you the truth, all of a sudden I'd go home and like something was like working that wasn't working before. I'm like, okay, cool.
Connected.
Like
It's all connected.
one thing to another, like would all just start to, the pieces would fall in place.
Yeah.
And the circle would just fully complete itself, and it would start to just fully work. So as I started to see that life did work, when I started to be more in integrity, responsible, more compassionate, understanding, listen to people better, take care of myself, do all the things that we consider these days to be important for us to be good men, good women in the world. Started to do those things, and life started to really work out, and here I am today.
Was that your first experience of like as within so without, like changing something inward and seeing the physical manifestations of it in the outside world?
No, not really. I was an athlete growing up. So I understood the idea of if I can see it here,
It's real.
I can do it there.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And so I understood the idea of putting my mind to it, and I understood the idea of that strength doesn't live in the body, it lives in the mind, and it gets expressed through the body.
Doesn't live in the body, it lives in the mind.
Strength lives in the mind.
And it gets expressed through the body.
That's I love it so much. It's very, very true. My experience for sure.
Yeah.
So how long ago was that what you just described? Like you stopped lying and things started to kind of work out for you. How long ago was that, just time frame wise?
December 2016 to January 2017. That's when things started to change a little bit.
5 years ago, 6
Yeah,
years ago.
5.5, 6 years ago or so.
What would you say initially and then to now is like the biggest things that came from that shift of like being in integrity with yourself? Obviously, like I'm sure as a whole.
Yeah. There's a lot. Like, of course, I mean, we can do a list of things,
that
but
really stand out from
the ones that stand out the most, the one that I entered a personal development course a while back. If anybody's heard of Landmark, that's what I started to do. And my initial intention was to create better relationships and to be better connected to people. And I would tell you that right now I have some of the best relationships that I've ever had in my life, and I feel really proud of them. And that has created everything else in my life: money, safety, trust. It has given me like the life that I have. That one changing all that. I feel more at peace. I'm a much more peaceful person.
Yeah.
I'm a lot more, as people would say these days, like grounded. I feel very comfortable with myself. I don't live around like walking around thinking that people are out to do to me, or that I'm a victim of the world, or that things are wrong, or and things bad. I'm responsible for all of it, and I got really present to that. I'm like, I'm responsible for everything, and I can make everything and anything happen.
Whew, that realization right there.
I'm really curious because like growing up, I had a similar experience in the sense that I got to a certain point and I looked up and I was like, I had male friends, but I was like, I don't have any female friends. I have none in my life. And I know that was sort of, a reflection of just who I was being in that time in my life. Like I was sort of a demon. I was nuts, right? And I just couldn't, I legitimately couldn't just have friendships with women.
Oh.
And that was like a real problem for me. But, on the other side of that here, I have some of the greatest female relationships I've ever had, period, in life. But I'm curious, that being said, you talk a lot about relationships. What, in your opinion, defines like a good, solid relationship?
Romantic or
any of it, man.
This
is what I started to work on, honestly, and communication, like the ability to, the willingness to want to listen to each other and to not care to be right, but to care for the relationship to become more whole.
Ooh.
Not to be right.
Yeah. So dropping the right only when I'm right, I win, but I'm not trying to win. This is if you and I are in a dispute, argument, and I win, what happens to you? You lose.
Right.
And we're not here to win and lose in a relationship. That doesn't create a relationship. That just creates some like pedestal, some like, I'm above you. It's a competition now.
You guys aren't on the same team.
We're not on the same team, or if we are on the same team, well, I'm better than you. So, the first one to me is being able to relate to each other, to listen to each